Right, I'm Detective Inspector Tam McLeish, and I'm just admiring this beautiful view of my Glasgow from Jackie Bird's balcony, and... Give a minute. What is it? What? A transfer to the Met? How much? Aye, alright. When do I leave? Now? Fair enough. Jackie! Jackie hen, that's me away to London! My old man's a dustman, he wears a fucking hat.
There's one thing this city's taught me. You can put a price on anything. Secrets, reputations, a life. And trust? If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Alright, I'm Detective Inspector Tam McLeish of fucking Scotland Yard. And this week I've been getting fired into thief. This is it here, pure wee klepto bastard simulator 2014. In Thief you play as this David Bowie meets Ezio fanny called Garrett and guide him around a fantasy pastiche of Victorian London, pinching loads of shite folk have left around. Seriously, the folk in this city just drop their valuables everywhere. Jewellery, ashtrays, heirlooms, money. They just leave it scattered about for any cunt to find. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that these arseholes had so much stuff they didn't know what to do with it, but Thief depicts a society that's on the brink of economic collapse, that's ravaged by plague and hunger. You'd think whatever stuff they did have, they'd keep in their desk drawers or something. Except they didn't. The majority of drawers you open in this game are totally fucking empty, and there's thousands of them. Thousands! A city full of empty drawers and a load of potless citizens who leave all their shit out in the street. So, Garrett's world makes no sense whatsoever, which is kind of why I like the guy, despite the fact that he's a thieving arsehole who would happily stick in a cell. I mean, I reckon he reckons that if these daft wankers can't look after their own shite, then I'm just going to nab it. Fuck him. Fair enough, Garrett, I admire your tenacity, but I still want to lock you in a cage with 6 of Strathclyde's finest to see what they think of you wee delinquent. The more time you spend in Thief's universe, the less sense it actually makes. Walk past the same street corner more than once and you'll hear the same two people having the same conversation over and over again. And you'll notice this everywhere. Either someone's no recorded enough NPC dialogue or this city's patter is fucking rotten.
Shut it, bleater.
And the town planning's a bit shite as well. The city serves as this sort of hub world between missions that's open, that you can explore, but it's such a pain in the arse to get around it that you probably don't want to. It's set out like a game for 1997, like, you can't go 5 feet without hitting a loading screen or that. Also, even off mission, the guards around the city are always hostile and that, so you're constantly on your guard, sticking to the shadows. Paths that seem obvious are blocked off, and, well, any fun you're having is constantly marred by how fucking irritating it is to just exist in this world. You never get a breather from having to put up with pish. See, I don't mind a challenge, but if you make it a chore just to get to the next mission or make me jump through the same button bashing hoops every time I want to open a window, that's not a challenge, that's just arduous. You even encounter situations where the design philosophy of the entire game is completely undermined by the design of an area. I'll show you what I mean here, look. I hit a mission breaking bug at this point which stopped me climbing this pipe, right? So I'm like that, well, maybe I'm just not going about it the right way. So I spy this thing over here and it looks pretty fucking deliberately set up so I can jump off it onto the roof. Stoating. Except no, because there's an invisible wall on the bastard when you try and make the jump. A pretty piss easy jump by Garrett standards too. Someone grease this fucking pole. The majority of Thief's problems are ones that just take you out the game, and to me that's its biggest failing, you know? Every time I feel like I'm getting into it, something happens that reminds me I'm just a fat bastard in a housecoat watching it on a screen, rather than actually being a master thief, and it's like, fuck's sake. I had a throwaway story and a complete lack of any memorable characters, and the situation looks pretty grim for this long-awaited reboot. I mean, at the very least you'd think it'd serve as a competent simulation of fantasy thievery, but an even more competent simulation of fantasy thievery already exists. You've got the 3 original games, which are cheap as fuck these days, and for me the most obvious comparison comes from the Elder Scrolls games, like Skyrim's Thieves Guild questline was more decent than this, even though it was just one part of a much vaster game. Even though its stealth mechanics weren't the most well devised, the thieving bit in Skyrim manages to be a better Thief game than Thief. which, let us not forget, is a game called Thief, about a thief who goes about thieving. That's the game's one job, and it makes me pine for the side story in Skyrim, a totally different game. That's a pretty bad state of affairs. Plus it's far too easy to batter folk. You're meant to be a sleek-it-wee arsehole sticking to the shadows and that, because it seems as though you'd be fucked if the guards actually catch you, but it's actually no that much of an issue to knock fuck out of anyone that starts on you. And yet, despite everything I've just said, I'm still enjoying this game on a number of levels. Who doesn't enjoy sneaking about and malkying folk? Solving daft puzzles and breaking into vaults. All that stuff is reasonably well executed, even if they aren't the best examples in the genre. And visually too, the game looks gorgeous. The sumptuous, gloomy lighting and the fine details in the texturing make it a joy to look at when it's behaving itself. Sadly, it's a very difficult game to recommend at the best of times. There's enough good stuff in there that it's impossible to hate it, and I'd be lying if I said that was the case. It's alright. It's one of those almost but no quite things that you'd feel pretty shite about if you paid 60 quid for the next gen version. But if you see the cunt for a tenner in a bargain bin in 6 months' time, then pick it up, because while it's shite, it's no total shite. Right, I'm away to arrest some London fanny for being a London fanny. Catch yous later. It's fucking warm down here, innit?